Society. You wonder why I dislike society so much. You wonder why I dislike being with people all the time. If you only understood. But honestly, I'm glad you don't. I guess I could explain, but nothing will compare to the feeling. Their words jump on me and eventually sink into my skin. I think I can get it out by crying, but that just makes it worse. It's to the point where I want to hurt them as much as they hurt me. But I don't, and my emotion builds up to the point where I'm drowning. I've been drowning for a long time, but this is the first time I'm screaming. The worst part, you don't hear. You never hear. But I wouldn't either if I were you. If only they realized how much their words hurt, how much sharper their words are against my skin than any knife could be. Sometimes I wonder if they actually do know what they're doing. That scares me even more. Because the only people who strangle others on purpose are those who are screaming at you to kill them slowly. It sounds almost as dark as my poetry. Okay. Next person up, Mr. Grant Fontenot.
How's it going, everybody? Yay! I got like 3 poems tonight. There's one more than last night.
In 3 minutes.
Hot dog.
Key to my heart. Drop the key to my heart and I'll be there in the darkest night. When you a new one will set everything right. Cause I won't let our love shatter. If it does, then none of this will matter. You have my heart with your love, and we fit like a glove. Without you I stand in the shadow of the sun. My life will decline. I need you and you need me. So I hold on and we last long. I'll never surrender. This is forever. But also never. Because I love. Sorry. As our love won't settle.
Bookmarks, man.
Sign your name. Sign your name on my heart and ink. Don't even give me time to think. I don't care how much I bleed. Your love is all I need. I will never feel any pain. There is nothing left to gain. Now that I have you. Do you feel the same way too? And my last one is a little longer than those tiny ones.
So it's going to last 35 seconds?
I'm just picking. I love my stuff.
To be a man. Someone once told me to be a man, and so I did. To be a man means to be brave and strong, to care and help, to protect and love, to fight with all your strength, for all you love and cherish. As a man, you defend your family, your parents and siblings, your wife and child. You never give up for them, and you always give your all. As a man, you never back down. You always keep your word and stay true to it. Never lie for your own sake, because that word has hollow meaning. As a man, you stay calm, remain at peace with yourself, so you may lead by example, as others will follow. As a man, it's okay to cry, because life hits you hard. It takes your heart and grinds it to dust, till you can't feel anything anymore. Just take a deep breath and let it all out. As a man, it's your right to die. For your child, you must protect that child that you have brought into this cruel world, and cherish every moment so that they may live. As a man, you suffer great pain, for you were struck down, and all you can do is get up, so you must move on. As a man, I have fought the darkest evils, so my family lives long. As a man, I stray from lies, so I can see the truth. As a man, I stay calm, so I may help others through their pain. As a man, I cry often, and move forward with my life. As a man, I will gladly die for my child and all I love. As a man, I bear my pain like a tattoo on my heart. Someone once told me to be a man, and so I always was.
Hit me right in the feels, man. That was a good one. I really like that one. Next up. My buddy Christian Richard, y'all. He's awesome. Give him a round of applause.
Alright, I got one more. Can y'all hear me good? I like to be loud. I like to be heard. So none of y'all can ignore me.
You like to be proud?
I like to be proud.
Okay.
Alright, I picked my 4 poems, which is a little more than I normally do, at the cafe this afternoon, so if I stumble, just bear with me. We're on the same page, but we're reading a different book. Though the numbers correlate, the meaning seems to change. You're flipping the page to your fantasy while I'm reading this murder mystery. The killer has a knife and your prince has a ring. The dragon burns the scene while the victim's house goes up in smoke. As he leans in to kiss her, the protagonist getting close, closing in on her, the kill. As the battle rages on and on and on, will he find the killer just in time? Or will he get away to commit another crime? Will the prince find the key to the tower? Maybe. Before the murderer jumps from book to book and finds his way into our room. Do our stories overlap and are they intertwined? I can't read the end, so I've turned to another page, but all I see is a blank, empty piece of paper. So I ran down the stairs and got into my car, drove across town into your yard. And slowly, the prince makes his way up to her apartment. He unlocks the door, he's found the key, but not for the room that he was looking for. I bust down the door and I look inside and was shocked and haunted by what I would find. That I am the prince, the killer, and the protagonist. And if actions are what put the words on the page, I would say this is a waste of a perfectly good tale. But the murderer got the princess, and the victim always dies. So I stood and faced the parts of me as she lays in front of me. If I held the key, that is the gun, and pulled the trigger, once again I pulled the trigger. And so the story I feel has a fitting end. I've got so much on my mind, but nothing to be said. I would drive so far away if I could just get out of bed, because the warmth and the comfort is all I can get in this meaningless existence. And I don't mean my life, because what's the point of living without you by my side now? I know that's cliche, but what would you expect from a typical lonely boy who's full of regrets, who cried at the end of every romantic comedy when everyone else was laughing because they don't end up alone? I'll sigh and avert my eyes to their stupid happiness. So I avert my eyes from their stupid happiness, because I knew from the beginning that I would never feel like that. So screw all your damn smiles, I'll turn them around and try to make everyone just as sad as me. I'll push them away so far they'll only be a memory. Me and my reflection are here to make history, even if we're the only ones who will remember it. This was intent to be a song, so these last two both are. Like a quarter on a mission, you hide your lives in the closet. They spill out like wine that's stained on her dress. From the look she gave me, I'll be watching my back, lick her tongue and pill-eyed as she walks out the door. Speeding down the interstate, one thought ringing in her mind. Can you love someone you don't know? I'm sorry I asked, I just figured you knew. I feel like we've been here before, at the end of the road or just the end of our innocence. We skipped a few chapters, now the plot line it thickens. The clear ring of judgment blocked out by the influence we shove down our throats so we don't act our age. Yet we're still so young, but our youth lies behind us. One more. We never prayed the rain on time, and sometimes I feel this is the wrong time for an epiphany, but who here will stop it? You only encourage it. I can feel the sweat drip off my brow, though the thought is amazing, and I'm losing it. What's the point of feeling only to cover it underneath all of our crap, all these problems? Can life resist and give it a rest? Can I just breathe freely, or am I getting charged by the breath? Who will try and stop me from this point of sadness? You'll only encourage it. I've never been so high while feeling so low. I've never been truthful, but to tell the truth, I'm feeling hopeful, but I think that might just be the buzz. I feel it in my veins. Love has nothing to do with the heart, but the brain. Addictive, force you to be submissive. It's hardly open for discussion, but we'll talk it out. It's the best day to feel the worst way. We always feel never better. It's the same song, just different letters, so oddly put together, it's easy to misconstrue the meaning. What's the point of singing when you don't know what it means to you? I hope you realize and visualize that this is the end, because even with an empty heart, I still have no room for you to squeeze in.
I'm gonna say this again, I really don't know why I put anybody after him. Because we all...
Don't flatter me. You're putting us in excellent poets, all of you.
And the baristas are trying to make my night bad. They've spilled coffee on me. Indirectly, of course, they just overflowed my cup, and then when I took a taste, it did boom.
Had it coming.
Quit.
All right.
All right, next up, after Christian Richard, we have everybody else that has to read after that. I'm joking, dude. Everybody's so good. Everybody's so good. I guess I'm just biased because Christian's my dog. I'm a G. All right, enough pro love. Next up, we have Chloe Watson up to the stage.
This is my first time
I'm
reading.
wearing my heels today. I'm just really tall.
This is my first time reading, and this poem doesn't really have a name, so. What is wrong with all of the girls of today? Why have so many of us women been led so astray? Because nowadays we have teens so caught up in how they'll be seen that they can't even begin to understand what true beauty means. The world has them so worried about the shade of their skin or the size of their butts that they don't know what love is, they only know lust. So many of them without examples of strong women with self-respect, but yet we still wonder why we see 12-year-olds pregnant. They look at magazines and only see girls edited beyond recognition, so they decide to go peek up what they just ate in their kitchen. We need to do something, guys, give them some kind of sign to teach that true beauty comes not from your looks, but from your heart and your mind. To have a guy value your personality over the size of your bust, and to know that sex on the first date is never a must. I'm just waiting for some of you guys to get a clue or take a hint, because girls are becoming moms before they even knew what mom meant. But that's what we get for teaching girls to have a lack of self-worth, for teaching them that they are not good enough from the time of their birth. There's something we need to learn around the world and in this very nation. Self-destruction didn't start, but it can end with this generation.
Breaking ground at every open mic. Breaking ground. That was beautiful. Thank you for that poem. Thank you a lot for that poem. That needs to be addressed by everyone at one point in their life. Or at every minute of your life you need to address that in your brain. Just saying. People need to be aware of that. Next up we have a wonderful poet who blew us away last month, and she's probably going to do it again. Miss Grace.
Alright, well apparently the theme is like feminism, regaining your inner womanly beauty, whatever, you know. Alright, so basically the story behind this poem is that I woke up in the middle of the night and I got on Instagram, and on the Explore page I saw this picture that I liked. So I went to the person who posted the picture and I found tons of pictures of their scars and really skinny random limbs, like just their legs that were like a twig. And it made me really depressed because the comments on the picture were just like, my God, I need to starve myself. I can't eat the next meal that I was going to eat because I don't look like this, and I'm just going to go throw up or something because I have a little bit of fat on my body, which is natural, thank you very much. And I just had to write this. It was like 3 in the morning, so. This poem has no title because I don't believe in labels.
Starve herself. I said, yeah, I love me too.
Teenagers, girls and boys so malnourished and macabre they look like they've just been released from a Nazi concentration camp, when in reality they just got home from school, where someone used their tongue, a muscle meant to carve kindness out of the noise in their throat. Instead used what was meant to be a gift as a razor with which to carve their own pain onto someone else's skin. That someone is your sister. Vulnerable, small, frail, afraid, a package of bones hollow like a bird's because she has starved the marrow out. So that maybe someday she too can be light enough to fly away. The boy whose tongue acted as a razor is your brother. He acts out because he feels like he is not a man unless he makes others bleed. Because he has bled and he still bleeds. Though the blood is dry and the bruises have faded, he is broken too. I don't want to talk about how girls are the only ones who struggle with self-hate and anorexia, because that isn't true. There are boys out there who will cut themselves at night because they don't believe that anyone will ever love them. There are boys out there who will tell you horrible things and then go home and say those horrible things and worse to the face they see in the mirror. So as a side note, by all means, when I say the word girl here in reference to the character in Paint, if it makes more sense to you to substitute it with the word boy, then please do, because there are not two groups in the world, nice boys and nice girls and mean girls. We are all one and the same. We are a treacherous spectrum. We are a beautiful watercolor of humanity, bleeding into one another, love running into hatred like ink, spilling from things beautiful to things unspeakable. The same people who have inflicted pain have felt it deep and unchangeable, a mark like a tattoo but more permanent and defining. The boys or girls who break your heart have had their hearts broken, so never downplay anybody's pain. Never downplay their suffering because it is less visible or somehow different from your own, because it is surely there. And never downplay your pain or let anybody do that to you, because only you know what it's like to be up here. And I'm not justifying hatefulness or bullying or bigotry. I am not sanctifying the demons for abusing the angels. I am simply stating that human beings are not angels and demons. And if we are going to preach against hate and judgmental mentalities, then we have got to stop taking sides, because the inflictors have been the inflicted. Human beings are naturally nice things, believe it or not. We only abuse when we have been shown abuse. 90% of how we react to someone is an accumulation of how we have been reacted to our entire lives. So if someone hates you, it is because they have been hated or they hate themselves. So the boy who is the reason for your sister's scars is not without his own. His mind is twisted into thinking that love is a cold wind that freezes your body slowly, taking everything from you little by little, entombing you in a fortress of ice so thick that it can hide you, so thick that it can numb you from the pain forever. But that isn't what love is. Love is a fire, all-consuming, that will burn you alive layer by layer. It will eat through your superfluous flesh and reveal everything that lies beneath. It will reveal the bones of what you are. Love is not a tomb. Love is a force that will take you and make you a part of something bigger, something more magnificent, a part of itself. But until your brother realizes that, he will continue to inflict his pain onto everyone he never really meant to hurt. Because of his pain, your sister will realize her own in the fact that maybe she has a little bit of baby fat, whether it's 5 pounds or 50, and then maybe she'll start to refuse to eat the food that surrounds her like a plague, food that the people in the poor neighborhoods of your hometown, where people have just enough food to go hungry on, do without. Where children doze off on another night without supper while longing for everything she won't dare to touch, the food that her parents tell her that children in Africa and China covet, and when her mother reminds her that they would kill for just a little bit of what she throws away every day, she thinks of them, those starving children, with jealousy, because at least they may be hungry, but they may be starving, but at least in their starvation, at least in their death, they are beautiful. Because she believes that beauty is not the curve of flesh, but the protrusion of bone, hips, collarbones, ribs, and jawlines jagged like the knife she is tempted to split her wrists with. Because no matter how much weight is lost, there is still 5 more pounds to lose and 1 more meal to skip or vomit. There are still more hours to spend lying in bed, hating herself for every imperfection that only her eyes can see. And maybe your sister runs a blog where she vents. She posts pictures of body parts thin as twigs and twice as breakable. She prays to be a Dr. Frankenstein, that she may take those pieces of someone else's muscle, flesh, and bone and sew them together to make a quote-unquote perfect version of herself. Maybe she posts pictures of bruises and the crisscrossing scars that live on her young flesh that litter her glorious landscape. Maybe she takes every harsh word like a flogging, another reason to destroy herself. What I wish is that I could look at her and hug her until she feels loved and tell her that she is beautiful because she is. I wish I could make her see that no amount of makeup or weight loss or boyfriends will ever make her happy. I wish I could tell her that the problem is not with the gap or lack thereof between her thighs or the size of her breasts nor the freckles that dance across her nose like sacred constellations. The problem is with her eyes and the fact that she can see so much beauty, and somewhere in between her retinas and her brain, the picture becomes something horrific and distorted, the image perverted until it is barely recognizable. I wish that I could show her that she is anything but ugly. I wish that I could show her how to love herself. Because, darling, you are not a single color. No, you are the entire spectrum, a Roman candle that can burn down the entire world if only you would choose to do so. And you have got to make yourself see that you do not have to be the victim of the pain that has been etched onto the surface of your skin and the depths of your heart, because you are made of something unbreakable, something undefinable, something the world has never seen before. And you do not have to play the victim. You can rewrite the script, and while you may not be able to change who the villains are and how they hurt you, you have the power to be your own savior. You do not have to wait for a knight on a white horse. You can be the hero of your own story.
Thank you.
Good job, Grace.
Is there a Marcus Lonnie here? Yes? Awesome. Awesome. Marcus Lonnie's up next.
The days go forward. Oh, how I long to be swept into her arms once more, again before I am dragged back. Nay, let me not rest atop the mirrored gate of hell, where devil queens lie just beneath. Nay, let me not look out upon the mirrored gate of hell, where devil queens rise up from underneath. They will take you under, they will drag you down to the bottomless pits of hell, where so cold it burns an icy fire, the touch of death does no longer linger. Nay, the fear of no hope to come. Born a sinner I am, a sinner I shall die. Lord, hear thy prayers, please take thy heart once more. Sitting lonely, letting death hold me, trying not to let her show me what it is like to be alive. In a world with no surprises, colorblind, your eyes bear those nightmares. Broken hands build glass stairs, memories of shattered mysteries, encapsulate the sea you see, stare off into nowhere. I recompose the message, wishful thinking, antiquated thoughts of dreaming. I am lost in my mind again. I was just daydreaming. Thank you.
Thank you. Woohoo! That's a round of applause.
I think that was Marcus's first time actually reading, maybe. So that was definitely awesome. Thank you, Marcus. I apologize if it seemed like I was downplaying Grace's poem. I couldn't talk. I was a little choked up. It was a beautiful poem. Next up we have Heather Marie to read some poems, or a poem, or poem something. Here we go.
Pretty short. I didn't know there was a theme, but as a woman, I love both of my poems and they come from my heart. So, this first one is a happy poem. I like everyone else's poems. It's a love poem, so. I awake and I am at the seas, inside an innocent little bud, waiting to open in the light of morning. I can hear your voice, drumming on the sand, as your water unfolds at the shore in magnificent waves. The sun, slowly, yet not bashfully, begins to consume my opening petals as his light shows you to me. My heart beats inside this beach flower of me. My heart calls to you, singing in such untamed deepness for your vast water and sparkling symphonies. I gaze in awe at you all day, with the picture of your majestic being forever engraved inside my mind, always within the depths of my heart. I am parched in this dry sand, so far from your shore, far from the comfort of your reviving waters. I like to imagine that you are constantly reaching out to me with each wave that you throw upon your shore, for me to somehow catch a hold of and to let you take me with you. Yet, where my roots hold me down is where I must stay until some unnatural force should bring us together. Whether harsh weather, or the simple claws of a sand crab wishing to help me. Soon, the sun visits another, miles away, and I close myself into the tiny bud that I can be. Your tides pull, all night they captivate me. Even after we have whispered to each other good nights, I am awake inside my dreams and longings. For you, in our requited love. For me in your passionate dancing waters. For us as I continue to pretend that I am already deep inside the heart of you, my sea, lost forever, if finally found. And then I have another one. Here I am. I've traveled to you, this weak, invisible world. I stand in this empty city, my world fleeing from myself, as if I were nothing but a stranger to her. Yes, I am without any other company, but my heart is not hushed. It screams to be heard. I'm outside, yelling at every soul that passes me in the night. They do not hear. They do not even lift their eyes. You souls that are near, you do not fool me. I stand weak at your doors, but you insist that no one is there. I knock, yet you stubbornly insist that you are in silence. I beg even, growing desperate in my coldness, but you turn your faces to the walls. So I begin my journey down, falling at your thresholds with the pain of trying to shiver without another breath to put out. The night cries for me to try to wake up, and my mind is awakening. With the shock of lifelessness, I see your windows fog from the deep within, and I now understand. I am awakened with the fact that I will not be going in.
I love when new people come and read. That was awesome. Thank you so much. The only reason I put myself last, because obviously there's many more poets that are way more talented than I am. The only reason I put myself last is because I want to shamelessly plug that I have a new book. It's a compilation of a bunch of poems that I wrote in the last year and a half, and they kind of tell a story. I put them in the order that I wrote them in. And I have a bunch of copies today. If y'all want to pick one up, I'll be signing and selling them after the open mic. If y'all want to stick around, they're only $7. If you don't want them here, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them on your Kindle if you have a Kindle, all that stuff. Anyway, I was going to read some poems out of there, but then I realized I wrote some new ones. And so I'm going to read those off my phone. And then we'll go to the music. These are all untitled, but that's just because I'm lazy.
I feel for you, man.
Would you scale this balcony if you had to? Am I worth the climb, or are you scared to fall? This apartment is more lonely than I'm allowed to admit, and none of these 2,000 square feet would dare to keep me company. So I sit by the rope knot tied to the top rung of the railing, wishing for a bit of tension to wake me from my daydreams. But my daydreams consist of you rescuing me, so I guess the only one who can save me is you. Thank you. There's so many people here, guys. I'm so nervous. Okay, I've been thank you. I love you too. I don't know who said that. I've been having something in my eye for like 3 hours, and I think my eye's kind of numb to it. So just every now and then I'm like, so y'all don't mind if I start, twitching up here. This one's also untitled. I fall in love too fast with girls who aren't worth my time because I'm desperately trying to make up the time you stole from me. I'm fragile, that's printed on the box, and I need to fill the spaces inside of me with something soft. Because once shaken, I'm broken, and no one wants an effed up package. But since I can't return to sender, I'll just sit here in my usual pieces. And I'll wait for someone who likes broken things to find me and take me to their workshop. Part by part, they'll slowly figure out exactly how I fit together. They'll make me complete again. I'm gonna have 2 more. I'm gonna read 1 more from here, and then I'll read one of those from that book over there. If I took the stars from their black velvet surface, and I laid them all out for you here, would you love me? What if I said that all of these stars don't measure up to the beauty that I see when I look in your eyes? What if you believed me? These skylights just don't quite measure up, if I had to give my honest opinion. Because I'd rather spend an entire night laying on this quilt gazing at you. But I know you won't believe these things I've said, so I'll tuck the stars back into their twilight bed, and I'll continue wishing upon your eyes, and hope that wishes really do come true. And I like...
Re-elect Jack Burson.
I can tell you don't vote for him. You can't vote in Eunice anyway. I live outside the city limits. What? Alright. I'll read 1 more. It's from a new book available on Amazon and Kindle and Create Faith. You can get it. You can also get it here if you want one. I only $7. I'll find it for you. Anyway, I like to read poems that. I have a lot of poems. As you can see, there's like 80-something of them in this book. And I like to read ones that are relevant to me at the time, I guess. I was going to read a bunch of sad ones, but you guys are awesome at poetry, and so I got happy again. So this one's called With the Moon Part 2. If you want to read Part 1, get the book. Just saying. Your tongue danced with mine. A tango, though I've never learned to dance, and I was trying to keep up, but my feet got tangled in yours, which is okay, really. It's definitely like that joke, I think. And you were on me. I'd been waiting for this moment, and I took the opportunity to let my hands roam free across the body I dreamt of. So many nights I've sat with the moon, explaining to him how fond of you I really am, and how much I missed you. I told him I'd be different for you, so that you wouldn't be afraid to tell me you love me, because my arms aren't made for any embrace but yours. The moon listened intently as I described the way your hazel eyes glistened green when I peered into their depths, and how I very often needed to bring a map along. Getting lost in you has a way of completely throwing all of my sense of direction off. That's okay, because I like to be that sort of lost. I never told the moon about the silly faces we'd exchange or the funny sounds we'd make between the echoes of laughter from beneath your down comforter. I also never told him about how we often say things in perfect unison and finish each other's sentences when we get lost in conversation. I didn't want the moon to think us immature, but as I pondered the decision to withhold information from him, it dawned on me. We are those silly faces, and the random sounds, and we are the end to each other's sentences, and I regret that I didn't confide this information to my friend. Though I'm sure he'd have come to the same conclusion regardless of what I did or didn't tell him about us. Despite it all, when I was done discussing the intricacies of you and me and how I wished I could have it again, the moon looked at me sincerely and said simply, "She's not gone yet. She's still in your life. She can still be yours." And the whole way home, guided by the light of my friend, I thought about what he said, how simple and seemingly too easy it all seemed. And so I stayed, despite everything. And I waited for your lips to do something special in my direction. And they kissed me, and they said, "I love you." And as I held you close, I looked up at the moon, who gave a simple wink, and I knew that he would never give up on us. Thank you, guys.
The book's on Amazon.
But I have a bunch of copies here. They're in that box that that pretty lady over there is holding for me.
Gotta sign them all.
Yeah, I can sign them. I'll sign them. I got all night, guys. I don't do nothing. This is what I do. Come here and I drink coffee. Fish. Let me do that.